This, weirdly enough, has actually forced Israel's hand into revealing that they use openly Palestinians as fucking human shields. There's been plenty of Haaretz reporting on the matter, as you guys know. We're obviously going to get back to Israel now because there's a fake ceasefire, as you know, that Israel is violating already. Israel's given the U.S. new intelligence, apparently. Let's see. Israel gave the U.S. new intelligence that shows Hamas has access to more bodies than it claims. We don't see Hamas making maximum effort regarding the bodies. We know they can do more, and we don't think anybody should give them any discounts, an Israeli official said. They're most likely still using fake intelligence, as they've done over and over again, in an effort to fucking make it seem as though it's perfectly valid to cut aid into the Gaza Strip, which they have already done so. They've cut the aid in half. I don't believe Israel, even for a brief moment, okay? I do not believe Israel at all. They are genociders and they are liars. And the UN is now calling on Israel to open the border crossings. Obviously, there's a couple different things that we're going to talk about here, but one of the things that has taken place in terms of the extraction of the slain captives and what the resistance groups have done so far, they said that this would take time, this initiative of finding where the bodies are and then removing the rubble and extracting those bodies, they said would be an endeavor that takes a lot of time. It's understandable. Israel fucking destroyed Gaza. Okay? Israel destroyed Gaza. Obviously, it's going to take a while for people to fucking find even their relatives, let alone the Israeli captives that were killed. And in the process, yesterday, Hamas delivered 8 bodies. Okay? In the second round, in 4 body batches, okay? In the second round of 4 bodies that were delivered, okay? Israel claimed that one of the bodies that was released was actually not an IDF soldier. Palestinian resistance source told Al Jazeera Arabic that a body returned by Hamas that Israel claimed was not one of their captives, is actually an IDF soldier, was taken by Qassam fighters in an operation in Jabalia in May 2024. Qassam released a video of it at the time. The identity of this soldier was never publicly confirmed. There's been speculation that the captured soldier was a mercenary rather than an official IDF soldier, but Israel has never publicly acknowledged or identified him. So what's interesting about the second round of 4 was 3 of them were immediately confirmed as Israeli captives. The 4th one, on the other hand, was not. And Israel last night, while we were all sleeping, was going back and forth on whether or not the 4th captive was actually an Israeli citizen or not. Hamas said that the 4th captive who was killed was actually extracted in an operation in the month of May, in May 2024. Okay? Here it is. Al Jazeera source in resistance leadership operation to capture and drag soldier's body to one of the tunnels was carried out by a Qassam operation in Jabalia camp in May 2024. This obviously is a major blow to Israel's confidence. It's a major blow to the mighty security force that the IDF presents itself as. The very fact that amidst this genocide, that the Al-Qassam Brigade was still able to conduct military operations that struck a blow at the heart of the occupational forces while simultaneously extracting the body of one of the slain soldiers is a major ordeal. So in that process, Israel turned around and claimed that, as a matter of fact, the person that they had extracted in that operation in Jabalia camp in May 2024 was actually a Palestinian human shield. Israel does use Palestinians as human shields. Sometimes Palestinians that they've actually kidnapped in the West Bank, that they send over to the front lines in Gaza, and they actually give them some IDF fatigues. Okay? So there's a little bit of confusion on whether or not this was actually a mercenary that was an armed combatant that was extracted in this operation and brought into the tunnels, or if it was actually a Palestinian that was being used as a human shield. For those of you that are oblivious to this reality, that is right. A Palestinian human shield is normal process for Israel, okay? This, weirdly enough, has actually forced Israel's hand into revealing that they use openly Palestinians as fucking human shields. There's been plenty of Haaretz reporting on the matter, as you guys know. There's been plenty of Israeli reporting on the matter. It's called a mosquito protocol. That's what they call it, where they will take Palestinians, they'll apprehend and detain Palestinians in both the Gaza Strip and maybe sometimes even in the West Bank, and they will put them in front of their teams. They will like forcibly handcuff these Palestinian prisoners, Palestinian hostages, and will push them in front of their teams in order to draw out Hamas fighters or resistance fighters. So we still don't know. We still don't know exactly what happened as far as like whether or not this was a mercenary or whether or not this was a Palestinian. But that is the case currently. The identity of the soldier was never publicly confirmed. There's been speculation that the captured soldier was a mercenary rather than an IDF soldier, but Israel's never publicly acknowledged or identified him. But what's interesting about this is, fourth body handed over by Hamas, said to be of West Bank Palestinian, used by IDF in Gaza as a human shield. Emmanuel Fabian and all of the Israeli media is openly recognizing the insane fucking practice, of using Palestinians as fucking human shields now. Now, of course, the Hamas video that was released on May 26, 2024 showed weapons that they took off of his body. And Israel claims that these are not weapons that they would give to the Israeli security forces, okay? Which is why the speculation is either that he was a Palestinian, he was a member of the PA, like a part of the Palestinian security apparatus that seemingly was operating in the Gaza Strip alongside the Israeli forces. But the very fact that he had Western gear on implies, because Palestinian collaborators like Yasser Abu Shabab, for example, do not get this level of gear from Israel. This seems to me like it was gear directly given to, this is Western gear, so it looks like it was gear directly given to especially considering that he was in the camp when he was apprehended and killed and apprehended. His body was apprehended and brought into the tunnels. It seems more likely that he was a mercenary. The terror group had aired a video showing a bloodied person being dragged along a ground in a tunnel and published images of military gear and submachine guns, which are not commonly used in the Israeli military. Hamas later also published a picture of the man's face without naming him. Palestinian media at the time identified the man as Khalil Dawaz, a Palestinian from the West Bank's Aqabat Jabr camp near Jericho. The report said Dawaz had been detained by Israel in the past. The Public broadcaster reports, without citing any source, that the man whose body returned operated alongside security forces in searches of underground tunnels that was killed by Hamas terrorists a year and a half ago. Now, the reason why I don't think this was a Palestinian human shield that they were using is because of the weapons that he had on him. Because Palestinians, under the mosquito protocol, are used as human shields by the Israeli occupational forces in the Gaza Strip all the time. Having said that, however, they do not get arms. They do not give armor to the Palestinians that are being used as human shields, and they do not give weapons to the Palestinians that are being used as human shields. The Palestinians that are being used as human shields oftentimes don't even have shoes, as a matter of fact. They literally will put them with their hands cuffed in front of the Israeli troop positions, okay? Because obviously if they were to give those guys weapons, they could just as easily turn around and start fucking slaughtering the occupational forces, obviously. At most, the Palestinian human shield mosquito protocol is when they give them IDF fatigues. They don't even give them shoes usually, just IDF fatigues. Anyway, the Public broadcaster reports, without citing any source, that the man whose body was returned operated alongside security forces in searches of underground tunnels and was killed by Hamas terrorists a year and a half ago. Amid the war, there's been a commonplace but officially prohibited practice of soldiers sending detained Palestinians to search buildings and tunnels before troops enter, endangering their lives. Interesting. The IDF says it strictly prohibits using civilians as shields and has opened investigations into several such cases. That's fucking the biggest bullshit of all time, by the way. They have it's called the mosquito protocol. They literally have a term for it. Get the fuck out of here. Oh yeah. Just like the Hannibal directive, right? Yeah, we're opening investigations into the most commonplace practice that the IDF uses. Yeah. They're weaponizing complementarity, by the way, when they do that. Complementarity is the principle that international courts of justice apply to Western and Western-aligned nations in an effort not to have to prosecute them. It means that if the government themselves are actually investigating war crime allegations, then it's not up to the fucking international courts to intervene and actually investigate them further. when a government, even one like Israel, refuses to do that sort of internal investigation, then the ICC says, well, or the ICJ says it's our jurisdiction now because you're not doing it. This is called complementarity. The idea that if the government itself is prosecuting itself for war crimes, then there is no need for the international courts to intervene and prosecute for them. Except Israel uses that as a defense. Yeah,